Hey, welcome back to Why I Hate Being a Wife. I'm your host, and today we need to talk about something that's literally always running in the background of my brain. The mental load. You know what I'm talking about, right? That constant, exhausting, never-ending stream of thoughts about everything that needs to be done, remembered, planned, anticipated, and managed. It's the reason you can't relax even when you're sitting down. It's the reason you're thinking about dinner while you're still eating breakfast. It's the reason you wake up at 3 a.m. remembering that you need to schedule a dentist appointment and buy a birthday gift and sign that permission slip. It's the reason you're fucking exhausted, even when you haven't physically done anything. So let me start with a pop quiz and be honest with yourself. Who knows when the kids' next dentist appointments are? Who knows or remembers your mother-in-law's birthday? Who notices when you're running low on toilet paper before you're actually out? Who knows what's in the fridge and what needs to be bought at the store? Who remembers that picture day is Thursday and the kids need to wear something specific? Who tracks when bills are due? Who knows everyone's shoe sizes? If you answered me to all of those, or even most of those, welcome to the mental load. You're already living it. And I'm willing to bet your husband didn't answer me to any of them. So let's talk about what the mental load actually is, because a lot of people hear that term and don't really get it. They think it's just about being busy or having a lot to do. But it's not. The mental load isn't about tasks themselves. It's about knowing the task exists in the first place. It's about being the person who has to remember, plan, anticipate, and coordinate everything. It's about being the household's project manager, executive assistant, scheduler, inventory manager, and IT department all rolled into one. It's not just doing the laundry. It's remembering that the laundry needs to be done, noticing when someone's running low on clean underwear, knowing which clothes can go in the dryer and which can't, keeping track of what needs to be folded and put away, and making sure it all happens before someone runs out of something they need. It's not just grocery shopping. It's tracking what's in the fridge, what's running low, what's about to expire, what everyone likes to eat, what you're going to make for dinner this week, what ingredients you need for those meals, and remembering to actually buy them while also staying within budget. It's not just making a doctor's appointment. It's knowing that the appointment needs to be made in the first place. Finding a time that works with everyone's schedules. Remembering to call during business hours. Filling out the paperwork. Making sure insurance is up to date. And following up if something's needed. The mental load is the invisible work of thinking about all of this constantly. And here's a part that makes me want to scream. My husband will do some things if I ask him. He'll help if I tell him what needs to be done. in some cases. He's not completely refusing to participate, but why do I have to be the one who knows to ask? Why is the remembering, the planning, the anticipating all on me? Why am I the only one running this constant background program in my brain? Let me give you some examples of what mental load work actually looks like, because I think a lot of people don't realize how much of this is happening all the time. Well, you tracking everyone's schedules, knowing when your husband has that work thing, when the kids have practice, when school gets out early, when you have your own appointment, and making sure none of it conflicts. And if it does conflict, you're the one who has to figure out how to make it work. Meal planning, not just cooking dinner, that's a task. Meal planning is knowing what's in the fridge, what needs to be used before it goes bad, what everyone likes and doesn't like, what's quick enough for busy nights, what's healthy enough that you're not just feeding everyone garbage, and what you can realistically pull off given your time and energy. Managing the household inventory, knowing when you're running low on toilet paper, paper towels, laundry detergent, dish soap, trash bags, light bulbs, batteries. Not just noticing when you're out, anticipating before you're out so you don't run into a crisis. Remembering important dates, birthdays, anniversaries, holidays, school events, picture day, pajama day, field trip, permission slip deadlines, when taxes are due, when registration opens for that thing, when a car inspection is due. Tracking everyone's needs, who needs new shoes because they outgrew their old ones, who's running low on underwear, who needs a haircut, who mentioned they're not feeling well and should probably see a doctor. Gift management, not just buying gifts, but knowing what to buy for everyone, knowing what they like, keeping track of what you've already bought so you don't double up, making sure it gets wrapped and delivered on time, and making sure thank you notes get sent afterward, and anticipating problems, looking at the weather and knowing you need to pack jackets, looking at the schedule and knowing you need to prep something easy for dinner because there is no time, looking at the calendar and knowing that week is going to be hell, so you better get ahead on laundry. Emotional management, knowing when someone's having a hard time and needs extra support, knowing when someone's stressed and you need to take something off their plate, knowing when tensions are high and you need to be the buffer. All of this, all the time, running in the background of your brain constantly. And here's why it's so fucking exhausting. It never stops. There's no off switch for my brain. There's no moment where I can truly, fully relax because I'm always thinking about what needs to be done, what's coming up, what I might be forgetting. Even when I'm not doing anything, I'm thinking about what needs to be done. Even when I'm sitting on the couch, supposedly relaxing, my brain is running through the list. Even when I'm lying in bed trying to sleep, I'm remembering something I forgot to do, or planning tomorrow, or worrying about next week. I can't rest because the mental load never rests. And the problem is, this work is invisible. Nobody sees it. Nobody values it. Nobody thanks you for it. If I cook dinner, at least there's a tangible thing that happened. There's a meal. People can see it and eat it and acknowledge it. But if I plan dinner, if I remember that we're out of chicken and add it to the grocery list and figure out what else we need this week and think through which nights are busy and which meals make sense when nobody sees that. That's invisible. That's just me thinking. But it's work. It's cognitive labor. It's exhausting. And because it's invisible, people don't understand why I'm tired. What did you do today? And I say nothing because I didn't produce anything tangible, but I did everything. I kept our entire life from falling apart. I just can't prove it. Okay, let's talk about the most infuriating response to the mental load. Just ask me to do things and I'll do them. Just tell me what to do. I can't read your mind. If you want me to help, you need to communicate. You know what? Fuck that. First of all, asking is labor. Delegating is labor. Managing is labor. If I have to tell you what needs to be done, I'm still the manager. I'm still the one who has to think about it, remember it, know it needs to be done, and then assign it to you. That doesn't solve the mental load problem. That just makes me your supervisor. Second, having to ask means I'm still carrying the responsibility of knowing. I'm still the one tracking everything. I'm still the one with the full picture. You're just an employee waiting for assignments. That's not partnership. That's not equality. And third, and this is the part that really gets me, why do I have to ask? Why do I have to tell you? Why do you need me to point out things that are obvious? You live here too. You can see that the trash is full. You can see that we're out of milk. You can see that the kids need to be picked up from school. You can see that your own mother's birthday is coming up. Why do I have to be the one to notice and then tell you? Why can't you just notice? I can't read your mind. Okay, but I'm not asking you to read my mind. I'm asking you to look around and see what needs to be done. I'm asking you to think ahead and anticipate. I'm asking you to use your own brain. I don't have some special mind-reading ability. I don't have some magical wife sense that tells me what needs to be done. I just pay attention. I think ahead. I take responsibility. And you could too. You just don't. So let's talk about why this falls on women. And why is it always us carrying the mental load? Because we were socialized to notice and anticipate. We were raised to be caretakers, to be aware of others' needs, to be responsible for managing relationships and households. Little girls are taught to be helpful, to think of others, to notice when something needs to be done. Little boys are taught to be independent, to focus on their own stuff, to wait to be asked. And that socialization doesn't just disappear when we grow up. It shapes how we move through the world. Women are expected to notice. Men are allowed not to. Women are expected to remember. Men are allowed to forget. Women are expected to plan ahead. Men are allowed to be spontaneous. And when men don't carry the mental load, there are no consequences because women pick up the slack. I pick up the slack. If he forgets his mom's birthday, the wife has to remember. If he doesn't notice we're out of milk, I notice. If he doesn't think ahead about what the kids need, I think ahead. He can afford not to pay attention because I'm paying attention for both of us. And society doesn't expect him to know these things. Society doesn't judge him for forgetting or not noticing. That's what wives are for, right? To remember the things he doesn't have to think about. But if I forget something, if I don't notice, then I failed. Then I'm dropping the ball. Then I'm not doing my job as a wife and mother. The standards are completely different, and that's not fair. Let me give you a really specific example of how this plays out. When I go to the grocery store, I don't need a list. I make a list sometimes, but I don't need it because I know what we need. I've been tracking it in my head all week. I know we're low on milk because I saw the carton was almost empty. I know we need bread because someone ate the last of it yesterday. I know we need more eggs because we used a bunch over the weekend. I know we need chicken because I'm planning to make that recipe on Thursday. I also know we're running low on toilet paper even though we're not out yet. I know someone mentioned they needed deodorant. I know the kids are almost out of snacks for school lunches. I know all of this because I've been noticing. I've been paying attention. I've been mentally tracking our inventory. When my husband goes to the grocery store, he needs a list, a specific, detailed list, because he doesn't know what we need. He hasn't been tracking it. And even with a list, he'll come back without things we need. Not because he's stupid or incompetent, but because he doesn't have the full picture. He doesn't know that we're running low on something if it's not on the list. He doesn't think to grab extra if something's on sale. He doesn't remember that we're out of something unless I explicitly tell him. And you know what? Sometimes he'll come back and say, "Why didn't you put milk on the list?" And I have to stop myself from screaming because, dude, you saw the milk was low. You were in the fridge this morning. You live here too. But he didn't notice because he's not carrying the mental load. He's not tracking. He's not managing the household inventory in his head. That's my job, apparently. And here's what carrying the mental load does to you over time. It makes you resentful. You start to resent your partner for not noticing, not caring, not thinking ahead. You start to resent having to ask for help with things that shouldn't require asking. You start to resent being the only one who knows anything, who remembers anything, who plans anything. You start to resent that you can never truly relax because you're always running that background program. You start to resent that his brain gets to be quiet while yours never does. And this is the worst part, when you express that resentment, when you say, "I'm tired of being the only one who thinks about this stuff," he gets defensive. I help when you ask. I do things around the house, not. I can't read your mind. You're always criticizing me. And suddenly, you are the bad guy. You are the nag. You're the one making him feel bad. You're the one who's never satisfied. But you're not asking for perfection. You're asking for partnership. You're asking for him to carry half of the mental load. You're asking for him to notice, to think, to anticipate, to take ownership. You're asking for him to use his fucking brain. And somehow that's too much to ask. Somehow that makes you unreasonable. And here's another thing that happens when you carry the mental load. You get called controlling. Because when you're the one who knows everything, the only one who's tracking everything, the only one who's planning everything, you have to manage things. You have to make decisions. You have to coordinate. And from the outside, that looks like control. That looks like you being a micromanager. That looks like you being demanding. But you're not controlling because you want to be. You're controlling because you're the only one who's thinking about this stuff. You're the only one who has the full picture. If you don't manage it, it doesn't happen. If you don't coordinate, things fall apart. If you don't plan, nothing gets done. So you manage it, and then you get accused of being controlling. But if you don't manage it, if you step back and let things fall apart, then you're failing. Then you're not taking care of your family. Then you're not doing your job. You can't win. Either you carry the mental load and get called controlling, or you don't carry it and everything falls apart and you get blamed for that too. So let's talk about what actual partnership would look like when it comes to the mental load. It would mean both people noticing what needs to be done, both people thinking ahead and anticipating, both people taking initiative without being asked, both people carrying the responsibility of knowing what needs to happen. It would mean him knowing when his own mother's birthday is without you reminding him. It would mean him noticing when you're low on milk and adding it to the list himself. It would mean him thinking about what the kids need for the week without you having to tell him. It would mean you're not the household manager, you're both managing the household together. It would mean the mental load is split. He's running his own background program. He's tracking things in his own head. He's anticipating and planning too. It would mean you're both noticing, both remembering, both thinking ahead. It would mean you can actually relax sometimes because you're not the only one responsible for keeping everything together. That's what partnership looks like. And that's not what I have. What I have is me carrying the entire mental load and him helping out when I assign him tasks some of the time. That's not partnership. That's me being the manager and him being the assistant. And I'm tired of it. The mental load is invisible. It's unpaid. It's unending. And it's killing me. And I'm tired of pretending it doesn't count as work. I'm tired of pretending it's not exhausting. I'm tired of pretending it's fine that I'm the only one carrying it. So next time someone asks you, what did you do today? And you say nothing, I want you to stop and actually think about what you did. You remembered things, you planned things, you anticipated things, you managed things, you coordinated things, you tracked things, you did everything. You just can't prove it. And that's the problem with the mental load. It's invisible, but it's real. And it's exhausting. And if your partner tells you to just ask when you need help, I want you to tell him this. I don't want to ask. I want you to notice. I want you to think. I want you to care. I want you to carry half of this load instead of waiting for me to assign you tasks like you're my employee. Because that's what partnership looks like. Not one person managing and the other person helping. Both people noticing. Both people thinking. Both people carrying the load. Alright, that's it for today. Next time we're talking about weaponized incompetence. When I don't know how, it's actually just I don't want to learn, because then it'll become my job. Until then, remember, the mental load is real work, and you're not crazy for being exhausted by it. This is why I hate being a wife. I'm your host, and I'll see you next time. Peace.